Network. Welcome back to the Will and Willie pre-election special. I'm Paul Wells with Will Durst, Willie Brown, and one quick word for League of Women Voters of San Francisco. They're having a special chance for the community to meet local candidates, network, enjoy food and wine, and it's at the Affinity Nissan Building Atrium at 1395 Van Ness, which you can go to League of Women Voters website, which is lwvsf.org.
And I want to plug my little gig. I'm working every Tuesday until the election at the Marsh. And for those of you who can't go out on school nights, I'm doing the Jewish Community Center in San Francisco on California and Presidio, I think it is, on Saturday, November 3rd. So go to willdurst.com to find out more information.
As always. Will, let's go back to the presidential election in Romney, because you have some thoughts about
I just think he's a bad candidate. Was it Gingrich said that he's the worst candidate, mostly because of health care, right? The worst candidate. But he goes to Great Britain and ticks off the entire country. Great Britain, that's not one of the tough ones. You know? And then the whole, you can't pin him down. And I think Obama's line about Romnesia, I think it's trending now. It's starting to become a meme. I mean, he's like, you ever see those wind tube tunnel guys that they got like at the side of used car lots, you know, that's Romney. That's Romney. You can never tell where he's, and I moved my chair.
Romney, left to his own devices, no rehearsal, all of the things that Will talked about comes out because he has no independent knowledge that he can call upon. He doesn't really believe in anything except Bain Capital type activities. When prepared, he comes off reasonably well, if prepared. But if you move him away from the preparation, he becomes a deer in the headlights. He becomes a natural person, not capable of being perceived as being able to lead the nation, period. That's what happened to him when he was abroad. He really was not programmed. That's what happened to him on more than one occasion in the second and third debate. He was well prepared and well programmed in the first debate. And the way they programmed him was interesting. All they did was say, here are the 5 things you say if the word Willie Brown comes up or Will Durst. You just say, no matter what.
Or economy.
Or economy. And he had these 5 things for each one of the words. And he literally would give you those 5 things. And if you stay with it long enough, he repeats it. Because he has no other series of words for those, no other series of responses for that word.
He's got that figure about how many million Americans, 23 million Americans out of work, and he just keeps repeating it
over and over again. And
then, like a parrot.
That is correct.
Yes.
And unfortunately,
like
the Obama administration has not yet, in the Obama campaign, has not yet said what he's going to do positively for the next 2 years.
But his closing statement last night, closing statement in the last debate, Obama's closing statement was so focused, and because that was obviously they did focus groups after the second debate and said, well, you know, Obama won the debate, but Romney had a better closing statement. And in the last debate, Obama's closing statement was forward-thinking, and he tried to boil things down into simple, you know, we're going to get infrastructure and people back to work.
And between now and Election Day, he really, every place he stops, he's going to have to present one more dream, one more hope, one more reason to continue his administration and his tenure, period.
You know what it reminds me? Remember the Carly Fiorina Barbara Boxer Senate race in 2010?
Right.
And Barbara didn't have as much money as Carly, but Barbara kept running that one ad over and over and over again about the 30,000 jobs sent to China. And this race reminds me of that because that's what Obama, we don't know in Northern California here, we don't know what these ads are like across the country. I mean, they're brutal and they're unrelenting. You watch any kind of news program or American Idol, boom, boom, boom. I mean, we know we're beyond blue. We're post blue. We're indigo. We're eggplant, aubergine, periwinkle. And
Almost black.
Almost black.
Almost black?
We're so blue, we're almost black. Some of us are actually black.
You know, that's
Some
the
people
one
wouldn't
issue.
consider me white.
That's the one issue that this campaign has not addressed at all.
And it's the one under the
Absolutely, undercurrent on that
boy,
issue.
that's the elephant in the room.
No question.
We're going to cover that in our internet-only segment.
Well, I
too.
got to tell you, that's the one that's not there. It is like you don't even acknowledge it's there. In the Obama administration, on the campaign, prior to Election Day, from this moment on, they have got to go special. They've got to talk about what an incredible achievement the administration has with same-sex marriage. What an incredible achievement that he has had on a series of issues involving immigration, the DREAM Act that got moved, but
The
didn't
jobs
get
bill.
the jobs bill. He's got to walk through each one of those, and then he's got to close with the capper, and that is the stock market was 9,000 when he took over. In January of 2009, it's 13.3 or 4. He's made Carla Fiorina and Meg Whitman
And Mitt Romney.
and Mitt Romney. He's
Mitt's done
made them
well.
a lot of money. They have gone up by 4,004 points, and he should cash in on it, so to speak.
And corporate America has gotten profitable because they got lean and mean, and they could get more productivity out of less workers. But they're getting to a point where they need to hire more workers, and they've been waiting and waiting. And I know this is a conspiracy theory, but I believe in black helicopters. But they've been waiting and waiting because of the confidence of the climate. And you watch after the election, whoever wins, unemployment's going to go down, and people are going to start hiring again.
And well, you know, this country didn't lose jobs because, well, you know, somebody said and ordered the loss of jobs from the government. This country lost jobs because greedy corporate America decided that they could produce the same return with 4 people rather than 8 people.
And 4 people in China.
That's right.
Instead of
Or India.
4 people in West. Yeah.
And that's what
Answering
they did.
the phone.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what
My
they
name
did.
is Hal.
So your comment about that ad, we ought to see Bain Capital under Romney over the next few days, showing how many jobs that were exported to India or wherever they were sent.
You know, and here, in his closing statement in the final debate, Governor Romney, first of all, he says on one side, government can create jobs. Then in his closing statement, he's saying, I'm going to create 12 million jobs. Which is it? Are you going to create jobs? Government can't, but I'm going to when I'm president. It doesn't compute.
And in every state that went Republican, where the legislature went Republican in 2010, and they got all those abortion rules with the paddles and the waving, and they got rid of teachers and government workers. And that's why when he says more women are out of work, yes, because all those Republican governors slashed state funding for teachers in government. And there were a lot of secretaries and a lot of teachers, and it's predominantly female. So that's one of the reasons why we're losing a lot of jobs. Private jobs have gone up. Public jobs have gone down.
But the comment you made, though, Paul, about the whole business of whether or not government can create jobs, it is absolutely accurate. The only thing he hasn't said, though, is where those 12 million jobs are going to be created. I got to believe he's talking about Mexico. He's talking about India. He's talking about Korea. He is not talking about Mineola, Texas, where I came from.
No, and if we have 5 million more jobs in Korea, at $5 a gallon, that commute's going to be a bitch.
You know, one of the funniest things I've seen was a cartoon that showed Governor Romney's car with the dog carrier on top, and on top of the dog carrier was a binder.
There's a
For the
series
binder
of
women.
binder.
A series.
I saw the same cartoon.
Yeah,
in color.
series. I think it was a whole fun cartoon.
My joke about Rafalka. You know, Rafalka was the horse that competed
Right.
in the Olympics, but it didn't make it to the medal round, so I'm sure it was shipped home strapped to the fuselage of a 747.
There we go. And we're just about out of time. However, there is an internet-only segment that will be available at willandwillie.com, where we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. We kind of touched on it here. It's almost a forbidden subject, and we have something that's really gotten almost a million views so far on YouTube that we'll be checking out in that 5th segment too.
Speaking of the elephant in the room, I want your prediction
Yes.
of the election.
As
November 6th.
I think that it's going to be very close, but I think Obama's going to pull it off. I think he's going to take Ohio. I think Ohio realizes where it's at.
How many
now.
electoral votes?
What does he need to win?
270.
287.
Wow. 271.
You know, there's a scenario. I don't know how much time we have left.
Well, 30 seconds, so we're out of
Okay,
time.
well, the scenario is that it all comes down to Nevada. They're tied at 268 in Nevada, and Romney has the rest of Nevada, and Obama has Vegas, so it
happens
comes
every
down
time.
to a
It's the
suburb
Will and
in
Willie
Reno.
Show. I'm
One
Paul
cul-de-sac
Wells
in Reno,
with
the
Will
entire
Durst
election.
and Willie Brown. Thank you for watching, and you can catch more on willandwillie.com.